What's up, Matt? How are you today?
Today is okay. I'm losing everything. I lost my glasses. I lost all the settings on my computer for audio podcast setup. So today is one of those days where it's basically like my Monday. Today is my version of a Monday, even though it's Tuesday.
Oh no, that's terrible. So, okay, when life is shitty, what do you do? How are you overcoming that? How are you getting through?
I don't think it's shitty. See, that's the thing. See, I don't mind this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind when everything's like messed up because it's just like the typical routine. If anything, when things are like predictable, that's when it's like, to me, it's like, this is kind of boring. Something needs to change. Like in my head, there's a little panic button. It's like, hey, something needs to change. But when it's...
I remember several episodes ago now, that you did say this, that you actually challenge yourself. When you are not feeling challenged and life is boring, you don't like that. You actually like the things that make you have to think outside the box and strive to do something different.
Yeah. It's like just an internal thing. So no, today is great. And I don't have coffee. So that's like another thing too. It's like everything is delayed by...
Why don't you have coffee?
Everything's just delayed. It's work, man. I wake up and it's just work. It's just constant work in the morning. So, yeah.
What time do you start your workday?
It depends. Maybe sometimes 6 a.m., sometimes 9 a.m. It really just depends if I'm out late or working late from the night prior. So I don't really have a set schedule, but I do know, like, I try to aim for, like, if I'm going to start working at 6, I'll probably stop working around 5. But if I start working at 9, sometimes I'll work from 9 to like 12 a.m. It just depends. So, cause like I'm a night person. So like if I get good sleep and I wake up at a decent, like not too late, but not too early, I'm good for 16, 17, 18 hours of either work or table tennis, whatever it is.
Speaking of table tennis, so you sent a very impressive video the other day of you using a mini paddle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a mini racket.
Talk. So maybe with when we launch this episode, we can show and edit in a clip. Will you edit in a clip of you like at the end in the almost like the bloopers, like with the credits? Like you should show what this is doing. Like it's incredible. I watched it and was like, wow. So why did you use a smaller paddle?
I just do it for fun. Racket. So it's more of a novelty thing because people would walk in the club and they see like this random guy just hitting with a small racket, and I can play just as fine as with the large one. I can't beat like
a random guy hitting with a small racket. That's a great sentence. I
practice with my phone too. So it's really hard with the phone, but sometimes like players don't believe I can play with other, like I can play with my shoe, I can play with my phone. So I'll just start whacking with that too. I can't really play super competitive games with it, but I get the ball over. So I just wait for my opponent to miss. That's more fun. Yeah. If you can beat people with your iPhone 13 Max, that's where the fun begins.
That's impressive. That should be an Apple commercial.
Maybe, but like
it's great.
To be honest, it's like that phone is like one slip of my hand, that thing's going to go flying.
It's gone. Yeah. Well, speaking of Apple, I know we were going to get into some shit today about podcast marketing and how important it is to talk about the podcast in a written review on the Apple Podcast app, and why is it so frustrating and hard to break into podcasting. I think Apple makes it challenging from what I know of it, right? And we're learning because we're new to the game and figuring it out. But let's talk about marketing, and let's talk about marketing our own show today, and let's just get into it.
Yeah. I mean, just one precursor. I don't think it's hard at all, right? I think the barriers to get the right distribution that our advisors say, that what our research tells us, I think it's pretty normal, right? If it's so easy, then everyone could be number one in the charts, right? So I don't think it's hard at all.
I've had a lot of questions on well, which episode do I review? And I'm like, no, like there isn't a specific episode. You just rate the show. And then I have to explain to them, like, you go into Apple Podcasts and then you scroll all the way past all of the shows, right? On the about, and then you see the bottom, and there's then the star review that says rated.
You're talking about the reviews when someone else, not us, when someone else is trying to review our podcast on Apple. That's why you're kind of...
Yeah. And it's just the way that it's set up to even do that design wise. And you have to go all the way down. And then you have the option to rate the show with stars. Yet, as we've been advised, that doesn't really do a whole lot. You need the written review, which write a review is then another scroll down to say, oh, we can write a review. There should just be one option, write a review, and your star rating goes with that. So I'm feeling frustrated with it. If you're not, awesome. I am, because I think what it takes to get those reviews is a lot of legwork, right? You have to individually text people, call people, ask them for the review. They can't just listen to the show and follow or rate it with a star. Like, it's got to be a written review, which is hard to get anyway. And then you just have to stay on top of people, which feels gross. It feels like a shark, and I don't like it at all. And so, when we had to play Apple's game, for me, it was social media posts, and it still is. It's emails, it's texting, it's kind of hitting your network in a short time span. I mean, 2 weeks to hit those people several times is a lot, especially as a friend or a family member. And, you don't want to burn work colleagues and client relationships. So it's been kind of tiptoeing a fine line for me of, yes, I want the show to do well, understanding what we need to from our advisors, but also, damn, like, I hate this kind of promotion and ask, and I don't like how personal it has to be, right? I wish we could just send a mass email and start advertising and marketing the show to new audiences, which we sure can, which we should talk about, of getting net new. So it's not just our networks, but maybe it's just starting to open it up and doing some boosted social posts and asking people to review the show.
So just a little background. So we're capturing reviews because when you first release a podcast, some of the early signals that Apple takes is the velocity of reviews in a very short time period since release. I think so many people can release a podcast and so many people don't do that. So Apple relies, that's their only, they have other signals like listening rate, but that's one big indicator of like, okay, people are like it so much, they're willing to go through their very, very difficult process to leave a review, then it must be so good. It must be good enough. I think that's Apple's play here. I'm not saying they designed their UI in a really backwards way on purpose, but at the same time, it's a gatekeeper, right? If think about it, if we really like the podcast so much, we're willing to spend, because I think it takes like everyone I've talked to, it's not like leaving a comment on YouTube. It's like, they have to find it. Finding it is the hard part. And
it's like finding an Easter egg in a photo. Do you ever do that? It's like where you got to find a photo and there's something in there that's off, or you know what I mean? Like there's something that you can find that's not supposed to be there. It's literally going through and scrolling the podcast page and saying, okay, where is it? I know it's here. I got to find it.
And everyone who's releasing a podcast does the same thing, right? So you can't release a podcast. Well, I mean, like, at least folks that are trying to hit, top. They're trying to go higher in the charts.
If they know, I mean, I have a lot of friends who are doing podcasts and they said, I had no clue.
Well, that's why they'll never get.
Luckily
unless they build a long tail network, right? Our mutual friend Brian, he's built up. He's got 1,000 episodes. So if if you're in it for a very long time, sure, you get the same way. We just, if it's just a lot of folks that are saying, hey, we want to get more exposure fast, or at least in my eyes, I see this as feedback. I'm not trying necessarily to get, hey, let's get higher listener counts. I mean, it comes naturally with it, but I'm actually more or less looking at, credible feedback. It's like, okay, how do we improve the podcast? We're both new at this.
Same.
So that's kind of how I see it in my head.
Same.
The marketing piece.
I've loved reading the reviews so far. I was going to say I got some really great feedback of what people are loving and what people are not, resonating with. It's great. I really like it too.
So let me just look at this like 10,000 feet above. So releasing a podcast, there's a whole checklist of things. Once you release, we have to focus on distribution. One of the pieces of distribution is reviews, because you can get higher in the charts. If you get higher in the charts, you get more visibility. It's very similar to ranking in Google, right? Once you're on the first page, you just keep working at it until you're top 3, and every climb up is a log up or an exponential up, depending on how close you are to number one. And that's already one way of distribution. So I don't know if it's free distribution because we're paying it up front with one-on-one engagements and just trying to get as many reviews as possible. But I think after that point, then we can kind of just let the natural forces play out, and naturally people will leave a review as we keep doing call to actions, but we're not necessarily like texting everyone about it.
Right. I think it was that texting of the mass load in the beginning, which I'm still calling for friends, family, and colleagues to write the review, because I think it's also the awareness and the education of it. I've been focusing on the education because I didn't know that. So I'll tell people, hey, I have a new podcast. Matt and I have been working for months to try and bring this to life. We're so excited about it. And to show support for it, not many people know this, but following the show for the 2 new episodes a week, as well as writing a review, not just a rating, star rating, in Apple Podcasts app is the way to go. And a lot of people have asked me that, is it only the Apple Podcasts app, or is it iTunes, Spotify? And I said, no, it's seemingly, from what I know, it's only the Apple Podcasts app. They're like, what? I'm like, I know. And they're like, well, I don't listen to podcasts there. I'm in Spotify. I'm like, I get it. You can also do a rating in Spotify, but I think that's just a star rating. So I say, you got to write a review in Apple Podcasts, and that's really what elevates the ranking. And people were surprised. I'm actually teaching some of my friends who actually have had a podcast. They said, I had no clue. And that, that's insightful. We're going to go start getting reviews. So I said, the best way to show support, if you want to, still a choice, is to write a review. So people just didn't know. I didn't know either.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually looking up other shows that I listen to, and then friend shows, and writing reviews. That's actually a goal of mine this week, because now I know how important it is.
So that alone, though, still not enough distribution. So then there's the other piece, which I think we'll start this. We need to find a good time to start this, because when we do start it, everyone's production needs to be a little higher. But it is doing our recordings live. And then sometimes we do batch recordings. And I think what's going to happen is that will change a little bit if we're going to do live recordings, because now it's going to be one continuous episode. It might mean we change our scheduling, or it might mean we do have another recording date. It's one of the two. Right. But that will be a big shift. But the second piece of distribution is getting recognized on social media. Not going to get recognized doing a random post, but you can get recognized as doing things that no one else is doing, which is, well, not no one else is doing, but it's a really small pool, which is live content. So that's another way of people discovering our podcast, people discovering us, discovering the content. And hopefully, if we keep doing this right, do a call to actions, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. So that's number 2. Those we already know. I don't think we have to talk too much into detail on that. The third one is channel, aside from the live content, is just doing clips and hot takes or whatever, like just whatever we want to share on our podcast channel that's on social media. And I know that it's we talked about this, is going to, on LinkedIn, it might diverge into just our personal identities. But I think on social media, if we don't really have any active personal identities anywhere else, we'll just use like the OnlyFounders pod channel. And then that can act. And I know, actually, I think you said we can set that up as a business account or a business channel on LinkedIn anyway. It is.
Yeah. So on Instagram, it's already set up as a business channel. And we can do Facebook if we want. I haven't turned on Facebook for this. I don't know that that's going to do much, but we need to create the TikTok channel, which I have, which is a business channel. Getting it linked to your Metricool has been another challenge. Not sure why, just stuck on it right now. And that's the thing, like getting everything set up and linked and all the accounts set up to a social media management tool. That's another pain in the ass, right? So that's been frustrating. Just with TikTok, I can't figure out why it's not liking that. Even if I change the password and put that in, it's just like, it's weird. So I'm trying to figure that out. And then the last one, which I am still working on, is creating LinkedIn as a business. So you basically just set up a business page on LinkedIn for the podcast, which is great because then it treats it like a business, and you and I can put on our profiles that we work there or that we're the co-host of that thing. And then
another form of distribution. Yep.
Yeah. So I think what we decided on was LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram are and then YouTube. And what we need to do is set up our YouTube channel and then backfill all of the video recordings because we have all of them from episode 1 on, because we have so much content to shove out there. If people want to click and watch the video of the recording, we have all the videos, and then we can just start getting clips from all of those and just throw the clips on a scheduled social media planner where we're launching like 3 or 4 clips a week. Or daily, we could launch a clip literally daily.
I don't know if we have enough daily. Maybe we might. Maybe over time we might. We'll have to figure that.
Yeah.
The nice thing about like Metricool is you can take your past successful posts and it can bring it up and you can just replay it as a new post. So sometimes I'll do that if like I'm short on content. I'm not a big fan of reposting, but sometimes like I'd rather have at least something that I know will do decently, that people who weren't around before but are around now would appreciate that content. So
I'm a big fan of reposting, actually, and I kind of treat it as a drip email campaign. So personally, I use social a little bit like I do with email. So there's an email announcement, right? It's some type of little tag, teaser, communication, video, whatever, call to action, right? And you've got that, and then literally within that next week, you repost or you send the same thing, but it's rephrased just a little bit. So if you're sharing social content, for us, I mean, at Fix Inform, we know when we manage social media accounts that pretty much within about 3 days worth of time, people forget what they saw from your channel. Like you could literally repost the same thing within a week and somebody may not even realize that it was the same content, but a week is a bit much. So we actually stretch it further. But I actually am a fan of sharing and reposting the same content within that week, if it's changed slightly, but it's still the same call to action, because we know we need so many impressions, like 18 of them seeing the same thing before it actually resonates. So I think social and email, you do kind of a drip and you kind of, reshare, repost, especially if it's successful, you just keep sharing that, especially if you're taking an organic post and then sharing it to your stories. I do that a lot on my channels. So I will look at a post, and if it's doing really well, I'll just share it to my stories every 3 days. And I just reshare it to my story because it's getting that recognition for someone to actually recognize what that content is. So I'm a big fan of that. I think it kind of works as a drip social and a drip email, and you're getting people's attention. But it can't be, it depends on the content, right? If it's not successful content, don't do that. But you can kind of see over a week's time. We usually say this with our clients. We look at the last 7 days in review. We look at what had the highest hits, and then we'll actually share that to social and then suggest that they keep resharing that to their stories.
So once we get our socials out, when do you think? Maybe before the next episode, hopefully. Because that way we can get some more. Because we don't really have any market. The only marketing that's happening right now is a little bit of email, our review push, and whatever people are discovering in the charts, right? So we kind of need to.
So what's missing? What's missing in your opinion? Like where do we start?
We just need, because we have the clips. We have clips already. We might need to get together on like clips alone is probably not good enough, or at least like we need to put like some type of theme around those clips, because we have lots of footage. It's easy to pull a clip, but I think what is worthy to post is totally different.
I think it should be a mixture of our clips. And then I also think we need to have some type of graphic art, just simple black background, hot pink and white font on the top, and different fonts that are our show fonts, and just putting together a bunch of different brand phrases for brand awareness of what the show is. Right. So we have all of that content that our agency made for us of OnlyFounders, which is fantastic. We have the description of what the show is. We have the bio of the show, bios of both of us. I think if we take little clips and little phrases, we mix the clips within little, stagnant posts. Okay. I think that for social, we should mix the clips with some static posts and do some kind of quotes and some phrases. And then it's more brand awareness. It's what the show is, what we're talking about, and who each of us are. Because the more personal you get with the people who are doing it, which are the both of us, the more people are interested in it. So I think we should have a good mix.
So let me add on to that, because I know you're a fan of reposting, but I'm not. But I'm a fan of when the strategy works, you have to keep replaying the strategy. So one idea to say, if as we grow the channel, if part of the strategy is people need to know us, then it's almost like at least once a week we got to post something just from us. That it could be, for me, it could be something on table tennis, it could be something on a walk. I know you do running, just like a quick, like 1 or 2 things once a week, not reposting.
By the way, I don't run, Matt. I'm not a runner.
Oh, okay.
I hike, snowboard, dance, do a couple other things. I do a lot of heavy weightlifting. No, I'm not a runner.
I don't know. To me, hiking is like a lot of the hikers I know run, so I just put 2 and 2 together.
That's funny. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that there should be some type of a raw, authentic, organic post from each of us weekly. Absolutely. That's kind of what I do on all of my other channels, is I try to pop on, even if it's just me in the minivan, dropping the kids off at school and being like, here's a thought for today. I think that's so important on social media, just showing up as authentically as we can, because that's what people, connect with.
Yeah. No. So all right, cool. So high level, it sounds like we still need to really hone in the social media strategy. So like, I don't think I think we just got to we have a lot of content to post. I think we can post it and then just slowly mold it. But I would say that's probably it's still half baked. We'll have to keep kind of iterating on that. All right. So that's social media. Yeah. We got to get connected.
Yeah. So what's missing? We've got email, we have the text outreach, we have social media.
Text outreach, that's only temporary. I mean, I cannot be abusing my phone, really. I mean, and I'm really selective on it anyway. List. It wasn't like, I'm hitting like every single, I'm like really selective. Here's a funny thing. This is a funny story. I'm like, there are some people in my contact list. I'm like, I haven't talked to you in 2 years. But
right.
I can use this as a way to be like, hey, it's been a while.
Exactly. I did similar things. It was it
was kind of funny. And I'm not the person really to text. Like if you look at my text list, like I'm rarely texting people back. I get a lot of text messages in. I have like over 1,000 unread messages, but I really text out.
Oof, you're that guy. Oh boy.
Oh, if you no,
that gives me so much anxiety. Oh, that gives me so much anxiety. If I see someone's phone and they have all of those unread badges and they have red bubbles everywhere, I start to like shrivel up and die a slow death. I look at that phone and
so my wife is like, no, she likes keeping her inbox clean. Like my stuff is all my Slack is usually okay. Slack is only like a 2 or a 3. But email, I'm looking at the email, little red bubble. It's 99999 plus. It's like it's already.
Oof.
And then text messages is 1,000 unread there, and then voicemails is like a whole nother level of I don't know what it is there. So
wow. Well, I hadn't contacted some of these people by text, and I remember sending my message out, and they thought it was spam. So when they saw me,
I got that too.
Recently, I saw a couple of people and like, "Hey, is this you or was this spam?" And we're like, "Ooh, yeah."
It is spammy. So I mean, it is. That's why I don't like it.
It's spammy. It's good learning, though. I mean, we are learning as we go. We're brand new to this space. We're asking for our network to support us. There was no harm in that, but I do think there's been some good learning for me of saying, "Oh, maybe the way I approached that with certain people, right? It depends on the relationship, was not the best." Yep. And I think it's all learning. And I think that's what great friends and colleagues and partners and supporters do, is they give you grace. Because, we're like, hey, we're just human. This is new to us. We're trying it out. We don't know what we're doing. And I'm doing the best I can. And the message I sent was as real and raw as I could think of sending it like, hey, this is me. This is what I'm working on. It's important. This is why I'm asking you. No, I'm not asking to be an asshole. I'm like literally trying to play Apple's game, and it sucks. Yeah. So it was interesting. It was an interesting experiment. But no, I am a big fan of protecting the text message. I actually tell clients this a lot. I had one client recently ask, well, can't we just do a massive text campaign, to launch? We talked
about that too before.
This, course. And I was like, no, because texting, you think of the nature of texting, it's mostly your friends and family. And if someone comes into your inbox without having that consent, especially in a text message, I don't know about you, but I get pissed and I immediately report, block, unsubscribe. So I don't like getting text message marketing unless I've opted in for it and it's a deal that I care about. So email is fine because we can separate from email a bit more, but texting and phone calls are the most personal contact method for people. So if you're in that inbox, that's why I really tried to make my outreach like friends and family. Hey, this is a project that's important to me. This is why I'm asking, but I hated being there. Absolutely hated it. So
yeah,
I really don't like that.
It was a one-time thing, and I knew why we had to. So it's like,
I know.
Okay, I mean, it's
me too.
It's playing the game. It's like, okay, I mean, what are we going to do?
Well,
we can't not do it.
Aside from social media and email, are there any other
email? Well, let's talk about
channels
email,
for
because
podcasts?
email is not the same. Email is for both of us are a little different. So, Chipbot gets a decent amount of signups every day. So every time I get an email, we have drip email campaigns going out. And the footer I have, because we have our main objective for the emails, but in the footer we have kind of links that go out, and they rotate. We have only 2 links that are there, but we rotate them on every email. 2 of them are going to Chipbot stuff, and I added 1 that is for a podcast. And then I haven't done this yet, but on each one of those emails, if it's showing the podcast call to action, it's going to show the current episode and when it was released. Because I do that with our YouTube shorts. When we say it's like, hey, we just released this a couple of days ago, we get a higher click-through rate. So I'm going to do the same thing with right now. It's just like listen to our podcast, but I'm going to link it to the RSS feed that we have through all our podcast tools, and it'll pull in the last episode and then have the title there and say when it was last posted. So just a little bit extra. It's not like the biggest deal, but a little bit extra boost in click-through rate.
Something that we haven't talked about yet is the banners we both have on our websites, on our business websites. I don't know if you put your banner up yet. I've had a banner up on Fix and Form.
Yeah, so I had I use Chipbot Video.
Listen to Ann's new podcast OnlyFounders.
No, I use a Chipbot Video. So
I was thinking of doing that too. I was going to update my Chipbot Video on Fix and Form to really plug OnlyFounders.
I'm actually going to create another one. So I did one the day we released, but I only put the timer on for 3 days. I'm going to do another one. I think once I want to get our channels up, because if I'm going to put a video there, I need folks to be like, hey, go follow. And then once they're following, I'm like, go review. I don't want to just put a video up, go listen. It needs I want to have a call to action. So there's an objective.
We have to build a community.
Right.
I feel like the videos need to invite them to the community, right? And the community is going to be built on social channels. So we need to make sure those are up and running.
And I think that's the whole idea. The whole purpose of this is not just to get listeners, which are great, but I think you make a good point. It's just to build a community and just to see like there are tons of folks that are just like us. There are folks that are way past us in whether it's business, finance, success, whatever it is. And there's people also that are still catching up. And I think like in both scenarios, I think a community like that is, I think we can be good stewards of it. I think we'll have to play around with it.
Agreed. We'll see. Agreed. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the guests we have coming up. So we were getting ready to record with a couple of first-time guests on the show. I think that's going to be awesome. One of the things that we also need to talk about with marketing is the live stream. You already talked about doing things live on social, but with guests, live streaming the guest episodes so that we can tap into their audiences on social as well as each of ours. So I think that's going to be some great exposure. Even if we live stream for 10 minutes or so of that recording, I feel like that gives people a really good idea of how candid these conversations are and unscripted.
Oh no, they're going to be live streamed from the whole end to end. That's the thing. It's not good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Even before, this is where a recording is going to change it. So I don't know if you watch Twitch videos, but
no, I don't.
So it's just more for gamers. But it's like
I know I'm not a gamer, Matt. I'm not. I know what Twitch is. I've seen those recordings, but no, I don't watch them.
How they do it is they're not treating it like, hey, good morning and see you later. No, there's no beginning, no end. It's just straight into content. So that's what they're shipping in as published recorded content, but then also works just as fine for live, because live, it doesn't feel weird. It's like, oh, let me do an intro real quick. Oh, let me do an outro real quick. Right. It's just natural. Yeah. So that's where it changes a little bit with the live stuff. Once I heard we're going to be doing live content from Brian, it's like, hey, this is a really, we really recommend to push this. Well, it's like, it's not the same one-to-one structure that we have today. I think it's going to be like, great, we're going to record. We're just going to start talking. what we publish as an episode might be a little bit later in the live feed, and it'll cut a little bit sooner in the live feed, but the structure is different. So I think that's what it's going to be, a big shift. And now everyone's going to be live. And
so now are you going to have to get a second phone then to do the live stream, but then film and record on a different phone? Or are you just going to record on a camera that day and use audio from your computer and let your phone do the live stream?
No, you can have one device do anything you want. So right now, like when we're recording this, I'm using one camera, and it is recording through our meeting, is recording through the podcast, and it's recording. It does another feed for audio text recognition that I'm using for clips, right? So I'm just using one camera to do multiple things. I'm not having one device per thing.
Cool. So you're going to set up our live stream, is what you're saying?
We're going to have different software. So right now we're meeting over Google Meet, right? And this is the quality of Google Meet is not what we send, but Google Meet is what connects the tissue here. Well, we have to change the software. So now I need to be able to record, and this might change even my personal setup, is we need software that as we bring in live guests, the meeting space is what gets recorded, where there might be 3 individual recordings that get outputted from that same software. So that way it's all synced and it's done through a live feed, right? So the feed from you and from our guests is all coming back to my machine. My machine is recording it, or it might be doing it through the cloud.
Right. I've been a guest on a podcast like that too. So I've seen how cool it was. I mean, literally it was just click this link and you're there, and then it was live streamed. So yeah, it's great. We definitely have to up our software for that, because there's some really cool tools.
I'm hoping we can do something using OBS. It's like a local tool, video tool, but I'm not sure if I can. So we'll just play around. So next week is my goal to play around with it for us. And then
awesome.
It may not be something that we put live right away, but we do tests, like a test live with like one channel or something, and just see if it works.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, by next week we need all the accounts connected on Metricool, but then also, unfortunately, that means we'll have to connect the social media accounts to one other tool for the live feed stuff. So I'm just letting you know, the whole idea of connecting accounts is not going away.
Yep. I know. I've been trying to figure all of that out. I don't know why they make it so hard on some platforms. It's like you've got the username, you've got the password, yet it doesn't
but TikTok
work.
doesn't do that. So TikTok uses QR code.
Not on Metricool.
No. So Metricool, you hit TikTok, and it'll take you to TikTok's page. You log in with the QR code. You don't log in with username and password.
Okay, we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because it takes me to a username and a password login for that.
Well, you might be looking at Metricool's username and password, not TikTok's then. If you're on TikTok, if you're on the TikTok website, you should be using the QR code, because I've had not the same problem you're describing, but I've had an issue where because I have multiple TikTok accounts, it didn't and I only had a phone number. It's so weird. I didn't have an email with them.
Same. This is the issue. Let's talk about it. Yes, I have multiple TikTok accounts, and it doesn't
what you do
when
is
I'm logging in.
You hit login with QR code. You go on your phone, pick the account that you want to use, and you hit scan the barcode. Make sure you're on the account that you want to connect. Scan it, then it'll automatically log in. Yeah, don't log in through email, don't log in through phone number. It's not reliable if you have multiple accounts.
This is perfect. This is actually a solution I needed. Cool. Well,
so hold on. So we have guests. I want to talk a little bit more guests. So part of the whole marketing, part of the whole distribution thing is, hopefully our guests will also share the podcast as well, right?
Right.
So the idea is like, hey, if they have a network and they like the pod and they had fun, maybe they'll share it to their network, and that's a whole nother audience that we would have never gotten exposure through all the other efforts.
Right.
And I think marketing is compounding effect, right? So Chipbot's marketing North Star is 1 + 1 + 1 = 9, right? But 1 = 1 and 1 + 1 = maybe 2.5. It's like sometimes it's like you need all of them to work where you get the big network effect. So I think
it's like compounding interest.
I think what we have here, is more than enough to have the chance of a network effect. That's how I see it. Because nothing's guaranteed, but I feel like there's so many things at play. The chance of having maybe a 15-minute viral moment is not low. I don't know if it's high, but it's not low either, because I know what low is. Chipbots marketing is so hard.
How do you know that though? So you think it's not low? How do you know that?
Because Chipbots, I know Chipbots more of a business. Is a business, it's a business. So marketing a business is a little different than a podcast or a personal brand. But it is just so hard breaking through the noise. And usually what happens is you don't break through the noise by having one viral post. What happens is you have a big buildup in these little areas. And what happens is just sometimes things converge into one area just for a moment. And that convergence builds up a wave. And then the wave gets bigger and bigger from other people seeing this is a big post. Sometimes that wave is dictated by the algorithm. Sometimes that wave is dictated by factors that you control. Maybe it's a big event that you're being associated with. Whatever that is, it's a convergence. So in order to have good convergence, you have to have all these opportunities to even converge in the first place. I'll give you an example. Say you launch a business, but you don't really post on social media. You only have email campaign. That means your maximum possibility, your maximum reach is only emails and people who forward those emails. That's it. If you go into social media, let's just add 2. If you have social media, now in silos, that's still true. Your maximum reach is where the algorithm, it's not follower count, but where the algorithm determines how you should be distributed. That's your maximum reach. And then emails are your sub count. But sometimes they can cross. Say you're building a newsletter on social media, you build your email campaign. Sometimes emails have call to action social media, you build your social media campaign, right? Social media sees, you get a little more followers, you get a little more likes, we'll give you to a little more new people. And the emails kind of always stay the same, but then social media gains a little bit more luck to keep growing on autopilot, just a little bit.
I'll interject one idea in here too. Then we have blogging. And so right now at Fix and Form, we have a solution set up where we do a blog and then there's a social media creative that's made for that blog post with some great hashtags and descriptors. And then we have a social media post on the day that the blog hits. And then we have the call to action in the blog to follow us on different channels, as well as then the social post goes out and then we share it with the link back to the blog. So yeah, you can have a lot of the email, the blog, the social, you can all, sync
up. You keep linking them all together. And what happens is you don't get to control it. You never get to say when, but there is a time when convergence has a chance. Chipbot's biggest convergence triggers are 2 things. It is paid sponsorships and affiliate marketing. Okay. Sounds weird. Affiliate marketing can only contribute to about less than 5% of new signups on a month-to-month basis. However, once in a while, we'll say once a month, that number skews in a different way. A big influencer we didn't pay wants to do affiliate marketing with us. They say it's all self-service, so they just find our affiliate marketing. We do the promo code and stuff. There's revenue share, but they have a big network. They do the big posts. Then out of nowhere, we'll get a flood of traffic, and most of the people forget to use a promo code, so we can't attribute it correctly. But we'll know just based on hey, there's one affiliate that's kind of blowing up, and we can kind of infer a little bit of okay, the timing kind of makes sense that these 2 things play together. And because we had a social media channel, sometimes also tag @KidChipBot too. So that is an example of convergence where things just happen magically just because we have a website. Think about all these as channels, right? We have a website, we have social media channels, we have now a podcast that can be referenced as well, right? And then once people start not promoting you, but recommending you, there we go, recommending, hey, this is a cool idea, or I thought this idea was, or even hating you. Hey, I really hate this person. Whatever it is, right? Right. It can go both ways.
Any PR is good PR. You can get bad, you can get good, whatever.
That's mostly true. I think there's definitely situations of bad PR, but most of the time, I think even bad PR is okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, bad PR is a cybersecurity incident, right? You definitely do not want that at all.
No.
So yeah. The convergence, so that's where I think our convergence factor is about as max potential as you can get. So that's how I see it as low. That's why I see it as it's the podcast should have a better luck factor than chip bots because we have a little bit more going for us. Plus, we're not a business. It's still more, we talk about business, but it's not like, we're not selling anything.
Personal.
We're not selling, it's the main thing. We're not, once you start selling things, it's your difficulty level goes up by 10x. We're not selling anything. We're just talking.
We're shooting the shit. Right? Okay, so this is a fun question because it's really like, oh, that's such an easy question, but not a lot of people talk about it. So I always ask, like, do you like marketing? Because personally, as a marketer and with a degree in marketing, I hate marketing. And I don't know why. I'm trying to actually get to the root of what that is. I know that there are many people that absolutely love marketing. For me, I don't like marketing. I don't like having to do marketing. I don't like figuring out marketing, even though it's, decades of my career. It's interesting. And I always ask people, do you like marketing? I mean, I know that it's a necessary evil and we have to do it, but I don't.
I think you'll change your mind after podcasts. And I'll say this because I've done
bold, Matt.
5 to 6 startups. And every time especially early on, I hated marketing. But after every launch, and in startups and also have like event launches too. So every new thing I launch, it got less and less annoying. And not because we blew up more and more every time. It is because you have to realize, like, marketing starting from zero is virtually the same thing as starting a new company. Like, it's like you are eating glass and staring into the abyss. That's what I didn't make that quote up. I think Elon Musk had that quote and he took it from someone else. So we're just sharing a thread of quotes here. But it's really hard going from 0 to 1, really hard going from 1 to 10, really hard going from 1 to 100. It doesn't necessarily get easier each time, but the things that used to drain energy from you don't drain as much. And then what happens is you realize there's a pattern. It's just really hard. Marketing, there's like a 50% luck component to it. It's a science and an art. If you play it by a pure science only, you realize you're doing 20x more effort to get the same amount of results as someone who's barely putting any science in. Just being more creative. And then vice versa. If you're only creative, you miss out on like huge opportunities that you never knew. Like the things that we're talking today, I think this is very much more on the science end. It's like, it's tactics, right? We have to play, we have to do these channels of distribution. But what we put on there, I mean, I don't know. We just kind of just say what we want, say our piece and just ship it and see what happens. That is the art of it. It's like, maybe we get better at it. Maybe we get better of being more expressive and what those expressions are and, defining what those expressions are and being able to post it better. I think that there's room for improvement there, but that's the art.
Well, I don't think we can know that until we test it, right? I do enjoy the testing. And
that's the test part, right?
So marketing, right? The science of that. So you put some content out there, we give it some time, you get some weeks, some months, and then you're like, okay, we've got some insights, we've got some data. Now we know what our audience is wanting.
Sometimes
I do like that.
Sometimes it is the art part of it too. Sometimes whatever you post, there's a bias. So then that bias then also gets leaked into the analytics where your most viral content fits a certain bias and you don't realize your bias is holding you back. Right? This is what I learned with marketing, that you have to really let go of everything. And work in cycles. Just everything's a cycle. So it's not only just a drum beat, but in the greater scheme of the whole thing, it's like every 2-3 months or depending on what everyone's cycle is. But you reset. And when you reset, you keep the same plan as before, but you do fresh content. And the fresh content. You know what? I feel
like really good marketing is almost like living a healthy life or really good nutrition, right? It's like the same consistency. It's the same input. It's just consistent. It's day over day over day. You're doing the same bat shit, the same bat time. It's like, that's what's really hard about leading people into good marketing strategy is it's not flashy and it's not just one reel that someone, some creative came up with that's going to blow you out of the water once, right? We're doing the same thing over and over and over. We find the formula and the recipe for your brand and your audience, and we just do it. And you just have to keep doing it. And like you said, the 1 + 1 is maybe 2.5. And then maybe the 1 + 1 + 1 is like 4.75, right? Like it just is compounding interest. So you just keep, it's not necessarily double and double. And you keep getting just a little bit further. And it truly is a marathon. And that's what's so annoying about it is that I think I'm annoyed with marketing because I am annoyed with, the last 4 or 5 years in my life have been a lot of transformation of healthy habits, healthy movement, healthy sleep, healthy eating, nutrition. And it's being a grown-up, right? It fucking sucks, right? It's so annoying because you have to do the same thing over and over and over and be consistent, and it's boring. But living in the boring and not the flashy, like you said, some things are just going to hit. It's 50% luck, 50% consistency and strategy. So you're wanting that flashy thing. You're wanting the, oh my gosh, I did nothing different and I lost 2 pounds this week. Like that.
Wait, hold on. Do you
that doesn't
know,
happen.
So this is a kind of small insight. So when you're doing the same thing over and over, you get bored, right? So then what happens is you have random ideas that you didn't intend to be flashy, but they were just meant to change the pace for yourself. What happens is sometimes that's what goes viral. I love that. So that's in the boredom comes the flashy because you're just sick of the boredom. And what a lot of people misunderstand, and sometimes there's no right or wrong answer. I think it's very nuanced. I think anyone can be successful in marketing once. I think even twice, maybe even 3 times. I think that where you really measure is, can you grow an audience over a sustained long period of time? I think that defines if you're got marketer blood in you or not. But that flashiness, a lot of people are trying to do that early on because that's what people see. That big thing went up. I'm going to copy that thing. I'm going to spin it.
Yeah, but they didn't see the years and years and years of consistent bullshit and boring that group did way before that flashy. And then the flashy hit, right? You don't see the beginning and the monotonous day in and day out, pattern. And
there's another thing too. So some people launch new startups and they'll use that as like evidence saying that startup, they blew up day 1. Same thing. Sure. How do you know? What about the founders and their connections prior to that startup? How did they get to that point in the first place? Right. No, it's really hard to pay your way through. I've tried.
Is day 1, so this is a great question, is day 1 of something flashy blowing up truly their day 1? And how do we go back and research and say that wasn't actually their day 1?
Depends.
That was day 1052.
I think it depends. Like everyone's day 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're outliers. I think the folks that have a flashy entrance that eventually grow into something big, they're outliers because that means they have deep content to share. Maybe it's not just content, it could be a product. Their product could be super valuable, right? Those are outliers. I think most folks that come up with the flashy entrance fizzle out. They got their 15 minutes of fame at whatever relative degree they're at. And now they're really just doing what everyone else,
Quick in, quick out, right? Longevity and consistency in, a little bit of flash, you're going to keep doing it. If you build the habit will stay.
Yes.
If you didn't have the habit beforehand and you just on the scene, the habit doesn't exist, so you're gone.
And this is where I'm terrible, and this is a business owner thing, but like I wish I had a better habit of marketing too. I lean too much. Yeah, same. I lean too much on my team because marketing takes a lot of energy for me. Like I'd rather talk to customers, to be honest. I'd rather be on Zoom calls the whole day, just hearing, listening, feedback, explaining how to use Chipbot. That's my world. I love
100% the same, Matt. Actually, 100% the same. Yes, you and I resonate so deeply with that. I don't like putting energy into marketing and growing the marketing for my brands. I don't like it. I'm being called to do it. I don't like it. If it were up to me, I would just build relationships with people and talk about how we can support them and help them grow.
Yes.
I mean, that's why I'm in this game, right? I really love being able to allow my clients to feel seen and heard, right? And when we get those 5 out of 5 reviews and they're like, holy shit, Anne and her team totally understood my brand. And I have a client right now, he's awesome. And he said, you did in a day what I was trying to do for 4 months. in naming my business and crafting the brand of my dreams. And that is what I'm on a mission to do. I want people to thrive in their brands and their businesses that they've created. You know, I love that part of my work. I just want to talk to people all day. That's what I want to do.
I think, that's our podcast, man. That's really the premise of our podcast too, is like, we're just trying to, as we bring in more guests, we get to talk to more folks. We just got to learn. I think that's why I do with my customers. They're less of like business exchange. Like I know that maybe the first 10 minutes is more like, let's get down to business. But then the other 80% of the conversation is like, let's just share knowledge, share experience. A lot of it is, maybe they're teaching me something, maybe I'm teaching them something. It's something like that. Yeah. That's the fun part. I wish marketing I wish somehow that could be transformed into marketing. But in the U.S.,
right,
marketing there's like a million. There's too much noise. There's a signal noise ratio that we have to figure out. We have to play the game. Very similar to the podcast reviews. You have to play the game if you want to grow a business to not just like this small little thing, but to an enterprise.
Yeah. Well, and noticing when some of our friends and colleagues are having to play the game too, and they ask for support and outreach, and you're like, ugh, another one of these emails or another ask or another review, but they're doing it because they're playing the game. So I think it's really important that we support, friends, family, colleagues who are doing this shit and trying to market something that they love, right? They've started a project or they're starting a business or a podcast, whatever, right? And I think supporting each other because we know how much it sucks, right? And I hate how much energy marketing takes. And and I'm going to be real in wrapping up today's episode because like I'm done. Like talking about marketing makes me feel blah. So today I'm kind of like, peace out, Matt. Like I'm ready to go get coffee and wrap this shit up.
Well, this is a good ending note. So let's keep talking about marketing. Maybe a little bit off the pod.
No,
we still have there's more work to get done. It doesn't end here, but
no more marketing.
We'll wrap this up, and I think it was a great conversation. I mean, I know we got work done on the podcast, so I'm hoping other folks can see and listen to our process, and maybe someone learned something out of it. So
yeah.
But yeah, to our viewers, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.